Hello, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. Oh, I should have got Rhett. I totally forgot to get her. She's out there in the living room. It is Saturday. It is 6:18 p.m. I don't normally do this stuff in the mornings, but this morning my son and I went hiking, and then since we had nobody smart around us, like particularly a girl, if we'd had my wife, my daughter-in-law, um, my daughter, I think any girl would have kept us from. We went up like 6 miles, and it was very hilly. It's on Kennesaw Mountain. It was brutal. I'm waiting for this thing to come up. So basically, the thing is that I have to do a refactor. The refactor is going to be a nightmare. I'm pretty early in on it. I think I have three done, maybe three, possibly four sessions. Um, it's actually quite difficult to explain, like just in words, but it's not bad at all in code. If you look at a demonstration. So basically, in this concept here, we have like we can add a visualization, and then we have this concept of a scene, and a scene has meshes, and that's what you draw. So like if we go over here to this view, that is just that is described with this, right? So if I hit back, I think if I hit back, we'll keep it. Yeah. So we need to, but the thing is that was a mesh. So that's this mesh. And what we need to do is we need to have groups in between scene and mesh. So an array of groups and then an array of meshes. And that's then, because groups can have lights and other things, and then moving the group itself, I think will be a lot easier to sort of contemplate than trying to move a mesh. Or if you are moving a mesh, you're just moving the mesh. Whereas with the group, but I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna play out, but I want that. And then additionally, I do know that this can be very difficult. I don't think there's a simple way to do something like this. Um, and so we started, I didn't know exactly how to start, right? So it's just like there's just so many different things to do. And at this point, I think I have 9 changes in this effort. Let's see what we got here. I don't know why I can't. Is the whole screen locked up? Okay. So we have changes to our package. That's how I generally, this is how, like when I add something to package, like when I run a function, when I run the CLI, when I execute the CLI, I like to do it from the package so that I can have this sort of as a historical thing. So in our base dictionaries, we have a new thing called an ST group. Oh, and here we imported it so we can make a library, a dictionary. And there's our new dictionary. It's the group dictionary. Now you may be wondering like why I'm going through this, because when am I ever going to get another chance like this? This is a one-off opportunity to really understand the architecture of this, or to get it a little bit more locked in. I think this is just an export. It's just where I do a bunch of exports. Yep. And then here's where we created our TypeScript interface for a group. So we say a group has a type, which is st group, has an ID, it has a position, a rotation, and has some animation IDs. Right? There's a lot more stuff that you can put on a group, a regular group, but that's all we're exposing at the moment, or implementing, or I don't know exactly what the right word is. So here is, all we did is delete a couple of lines of code. I generally try to avoid this in work, or in a, gosh, my head's moving weird. I try to avoid doing that in work. Like, so at a job, probably wouldn't do this. But there is a concept of the Boy Scout rule of like always leave the campsite better than you found it. This is a really good example. Like you can go to some Boy Scout camps, or you used to be able to go to a Boy Scout campsite, and it would just be lovely, absolutely lovely. And that's because to a dime, to an individual, anytime any Boy Scouts go camping, they always make sure that it's better than they found it. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to do here. This is a specification. I don't think I've done anything with it. I think it just got built out as part of the CLI. Here's a service. It's just we're starting to go it out, and I think I'm just copying back and forth from the mesh and sort of tweaking it to my needs. Here's this. We haven't done anything with our specification yet, our group service spec. And then here's our group service. Oh, so this is our group service, which I think we ended up going to that. Let's see. Now let's go back over here. I believe yesterday I was looking at this. I was working on this one. There's probably so many places to start, and this is where I started. I mean, there are so many places. And I think as I was going through and kind of copying the mesh, I think the next line of code was to, yeah, load up our actual ThreeJS service. So actually, let me copy that. That'll be useful. Okay. So this is our 3 service. That's fun, 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 fun. And so now we're working on our group service for 3. So I'm going to close all the other tabs, and then I'm going to collapse this and expand it. Oh, I did not want to expand that one. And I believe thought it was going to be really easy to tell, but apparently not. And let's go ahead and there we go. So now we've got the focus on our actual service. Now I also like to be able to sort of look at my file structure and kind of understand what's going on. I have found that managers and directors and all that love that. And the reason they love it is because they can show the file structure and explain things to vice presidents and other important people. So I like it a lot. All right, so now what I want to do is open my mesh service. I think the mesh service is probably the best one. I think there's going to be a little bit more in the mesh service that I want. But here we go. We have our 3 mesh dictionary. So now we want like a 3 group dictionary. And I just don't even know. I think I could knock this out. And this is one of those ones where like you'll say, "Oh, I could knock this out in a day," and then 6 months later you're still working on it. I think I could knock this out like if it was just like heads down, absolute focus, and no analysis, no trying to understand what's going on. I could probably knock this out in a 4 or 5 hours. But this is, like I said, a really nice opportunity. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm just going to pull this in. All right, I'm going to pull it in, but I don't actually want it. Okay, so that is in our, now I want to go to the definition. So that is in our base dictionary, base dicts, but we want to make it 3 group dictionary, which probably does not exist. It might, but I don't think so. And it probably, this is what I want. I know we had a ST. You might be remembering that we had an ST dictionary. Um, so this is a group dictionary. Now we could, I noticed that they have a really nice, 3JS has a really nice interface that is like sort of encapsulates meshes and they call them like 3D objects or something like that. But since it is a group dictionary, I'm only gonna support groups in it. I might end up, no, it's a group dictionary. Yeah, so this is our 3 group dictionary. So yeah, a 3 group dictionary, like the way I'm imagining things, probably would not um, ever have like meshes or lights or anything in there. So let's change this to group. Now this is like kind of a validation thing, right? Like if I didn't, like if I could, if something, like if I just had some delusional sort of misunderstanding, which happens all the time in code, like you think, oh, this code does this, and then you find out it doesn't do it at all. I could have just been in the wrong place creating stuff. Like it's possible, like I didn't quite understand what was going on, and that by typing it in there, that sort of validated that I changed it in the right place. Group dictionary. Now let's go back to our mesh service, and I'm going to double click it this time so that it see, like, I don't know if you know this, but like if you click on like mesh service right now, see it'll be like italicized, and then I think if you go over here, I don't know. For some reason, I thought that if you left, it would close it if it was italicized. There are some see, it says it's in preview mode right now, whereas this is untracked. So, anyways, it used to be that like if you left, if you went back, if you went to another thing, it would shut the tab that was in preview down. All right, so what are we doing next? Okay, so it looks like we'd like to create a writable signal, a public mesh dictionary writable signal. And one thing you may not see, what it really popped out at me, I think it's super important, is that on line 11 here, it's injectable provided by root. That is exactly how it was done. Almost the entire history of Angular, it was done that way. But now we are doing this service at service instead. So that's good stuff. Definitely, I think an improvement so far. I haven't seen any reason to not really like that. But, it sometimes it takes a while for some negative stuff to sort of work itself out. Group. Man, I didn't think I was going to get a chance to do this today, which was going to be interesting for me because I do not miss coding very often. Like I code for maybe 2 or 3 days a year. I will not be coding. I when I was a little kid, I used to get in trouble for coding. When I started coding when I was 10, and my parents used to get mad at me for coding. I always love this. And some days, sometimes he's right and sometimes he's wrong. But my dad used to always say, and he was an electrical engineer, and this was in like 1980, and he would talk about the information superhighway all the time, which that was a name that was given to the internet in the U.S. like right at the beginning, and then that kind of went away. There was a movie called The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey in it, and he calls it the information superhighway. Um, is that supposed to be? I think. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I should. I would. I'm gonna make a executive call. I'm gonna put a 3 in front of that. I think that will make it a little easier. Like when I'm coding, when I'm deep in the coding, um, like if I was like in this mesh service right here, and I'm down there, like it's really easy to start getting confused, and because a lot of this code is very similar from service to service and all that. So trying to keep your head straight can be really weird, and just having that extra word of 3 there just brings a lot. All right, so we want signal, and I don't know how this is going to work out, but I think it's going to work out. Okay. I like to put my the the lowercase first letter imports separate from my big ones, and then I like to put them in alphabetical order. And honestly, the only reason that I like to put them into alphabetical order and divide them up in such a way is because Git. I don't really like the Git. Um, I don't like having Git conflicts. Three. So signals, if you're not familiar with it, are the default way of like inter component communications and stuff like that. Group. Oh, I have an extra H. There we go. All right. So now we got that. So now we have like a signal for something to listen to, and that is probably what that mesh service uses. I mean, that's probably what gets used by like the reason we want to do that is probably for this group. Now at this point, should I go back to the ST and kind of continue fleshing that out, or should I stay in this and try to finish this out? I never know. I never know. There's so many advantages and disadvantages to both. Um, I don't know. I think these are typically the end of the line, so I don't think I will be bringing. I don't think I'll be bringing these in. I mean, I don't think I have to worry about like what'll happen sometimes when I take this tactic of. So basically, what I'm doing is a tactic, right? The strategy is to make sure I cover everything so that I can slide this group. I'm hoping that I can slide this group in the middle and between scenes and meshes. And the idea is that I need to sort of spider my way out, spider my way through. So that's the tactic. I'm going to spider my way. I'm going to start working at one spot and just sort of follow everything as far as I can go until it dead ends and then kind of work my way back up and work my way back down. Um, that is one approach. Sometimes that approach can be really, really disaster if you keep on finding more things deeper and deeper and deeper, and you end up with like 130 or something, 30 files that are partially complete. So you don't want that. But on the other end, like it's very, very difficult to accommodate something that doesn't exist yet. Like it's possible. It does. People do it all the time, but it's challenging to do it. So I'm going to try the spider approach as opposed to the finish everything. Like, so my spider approach is going to be get as far as I can get before I have to create something else to be used. That's the spidering, what I would call a spider. I'm web. I'm kind of working my way through. The other approach would be to finish something, make sure all the pieces are there, and then um, create the what it needs. Start creating the things that it needs. So like then you still have to circle back, but you have a better approach in some ways. So it just depends. It really, really just depends. Like if I had one big mega service, I think, that I was copying, and then all of the other services that it used were tiny. They're all like one, two liners or something. Then I probably would just put little comments of everything I want to put where and then start and get it all laid out. But this one is a little different. All right. And that's just me thinking out loud. And that's kind of the point of all of this. Okay, so now I called this, I said dictionary hash. Okay, yeah. So this hash here is a string, and the string is um, it's hashed, and hashing it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was like a one-liner and it ended up being a lot more difficult. But so basically, when I feed this object to the hashing system, the hashing system is going to make it basically a unique or highly, highly likely to be unique. Like literally, I think it, I think you get collisions like 1 in 64 million times or something like that. Um, so it's going to make a unique code that matches the string, right? So like that. So I could take that string, I can run this hash on it, and I will always get that code back, the same code, as long as it's the exact same. But if anything in that string changes different, I'm going to get a different hash back. And so that is so much easier to monitor than trying to monitor an entire object. But I don't know what the performance hit is on that though. I just have not worked with hashes enough to have any instinct at all. But all right. This is a nice one because it won't need too many. And I don't think that the way I'm doing this is a best practice at all. Um, I'm sure there probably are some best practices at this point for signals, but the problem with this signaling system that I have done that's, like no one to blame but myself, is that it could be altered outside of this because this is a public signal that something else could alter, could change it. And so like if I was working in a place and there was some junior developer that just like blindly cover calls, I guess junior is not fair. If there's some developer, could be a junior, could be a middling, could be a senior, um, if they any kind of developer like that, if they were to copy and paste, they could conceivably start firing this signal from another service. And man, would that cause some major confusion. That, my friends, would be a goat rope. We have goats in our front yard right now. Our neighbor wanted goats, or brought paid for goats to chew down all of the ivy and stuff like that in his front yard, weeds and ivy and stuff. And we well, look at that. And we ended up creating a I mean, he part of his property is on our property, or his property abuts our property. So he asked if the goats could also do our yard too, since there really was like he only has like 3 feet on the to the side of his driveway, and that's on his property. So really wasn't enough for the goats. So he did that. It's a very expensive service. I mean, we never would have paid for that ourselves. That's a lot. It's like $1,500 or something like that. Um, so definitely truly grateful. So I skipped the um, empty constructor. I don't think we have any use for that. And actually, this just needs to be create group. This group, I think I called it a 3 group dictionary. And then we need to pull 3 in. I'm not going to make that. I think I'm going to start putting that 3 import at the very top. Import 3, import as 3. I think it was import stars 3. It's been a while since I've done this. I could just go over and copy paste it. 3 from 3. Is that it? No. So it doesn't know what 3 is. All right, so now let's go over here and find it. I always try to remember things like that. It's, oh, from 3. Okay. We just needed quotes here. And then this 3 group dictionary. So it's not happy about that. ID, publish group. I don't know why. Oh, I don't have a function called publish. That function will be publish group. All right, so what's our problem here? What's your problem, bro? Is group is missing. Oh, that's its problem. Grabbing the wrong thing. Group. All right, now I don't know what to do. I guess I should go down and find the publish function and do that one next. I don't really like I don't really like doing that, but so this is the publish, and see how it's like creating the hash and all that. I guess it makes sense to do that now. It is the last line though. I really wanted it to be, I really want to do these things line by line, but, and actually that's kind of one of the things I'm trying to work on my personal self, trying to work on is um, trying to work on like not being so like, oh, I have one way that I do this and I always do that, but trying to be a little bit more like, okay, for this situation, I like to do it this way. For that situation, so like I kind of settled in on, hey, I'm going to go line by line, start, just make sure that I have everything. But like this, don't want to be sitting here with broken things. And to me, this is such an important skill to pick up. Um, and like, I don't think they ever even like no school would ever. I don't even think they even spend 1 second on this sort of issue. Tab it. There we go. That's nice and lined up. All right. So now after create group, we got update mesh material. Okay. So there's no material concept in groups. And I don't think we have to dispose of material. Oh, that's so funny. And that's because I made it. This is so weird. Okay, so this definitely falls under the make the campsite cleaner. Apparently I don't pass in a mesh material. Oh, that's funny. Maybe I should make this material. Call if the material is not being used by the app. All right. I think that's better. Not 100% on that. Now, update mesh geometry. Okay, so this I think. Ooh, so see the group. Okay, so with meshes, when you go to change the geometry, I think you have to delete the whole mesh. There's no way. Well, groups, I'm not really. Oh, okay, so groups don't have a geometry, so we can just throw the. And man, I'll tell you, see if I just name this update mesh or something, I would be very confused at this point. Um, but if you change the geometry, now what's really strange about that is I don't even think we changed geometries. Uh, call this if the material. sometimes people can change it. Like if you're working with people, they can change, even if you're fixing something like this, they can kind of take it as passive aggressive. Um, all right. We definitely want something like this, and I think we definitely want something like this. And then published dictionary was the last one. So I think we'll be done with this group service. And I really don't like how much code we're writing without even getting to try it. Like we've got to be creating bugs right now, um, and we can't even try and like try the code because it's part of a larger scheme. Okay, so we are getting the mesh, but this is supposed to be get a group by st group ID. St group, and we are going to return a group. And then we are going to get we're going to get a reference to our group right here. And that is going to be of type group. And I have no idea how we're going to use this. I really don't. I get a lot of times where like people will be like, "Oh, what does this do?" It's like I know it gets the group by the STID, but where we actually do it and how we actually do it, I don't know. Like I can't hold all of that in my brain at one time. All right, so now we want to delete a group by group ID. So basically, all we're doing, we're not actually deleting it. I mean, we might, a side effect of this may be to delete it, but all we're doing is removing it from the dictionary. So we're removing our reference that we have in the dictionary to it. If it has no other references, then it'll get deleted. But if ThreeJS or if we have references to it, then it will sit there and just delete things. It'll sit there and just consume um, memory on your computer. That's all. It'll just be a memory leak. Which, like, I've worked at very few places in which memory leaks were really an issue. I've definitely seen it be an issue. I've definitely seen web applications get faster and better from that. All right, from uh, cleaning up memory leaks, but not always. I mean, most places actually rarely. Rarely do I ever see, like, it doesn't matter. The computers have so much more memory than the web page's application is consuming that it's just like, I don't know, like you're walking along and you went from, like I don't know, a drop falls out of the sky and you're not waterproof, right? Like, but one drop, it's just one drop. Um, the web applications just don't typically use many, but this has a lot of potential. If this actually becomes like what I'm trying to imagine, if that actually happens, then I will have um, the memory is going to be a serious issue if that happens. Um, if this actually works out, I don't know if this is going to work out, but I'm gonna try it. Anyways, so we're done with our 3 group service, so we can circle back to our ST group service. And in our ST group service, I guess we bring in our group service. So I'm assuming Let's close this one. Let's close this one. And I'm assuming. Let's go to our. I'm assuming that we want it to be private. I feel like scene might have been a better one, but since scene in many ways is very much like a group, it just holds other things and has its own attributes. All right, so this mesh service needed the group geometry service and the material service because you have to I'm remembering this now. You have to be able to let the service, when I delete, uh, so when I delete a group, I have to let the mesh know that I deleted a group because it's the only one that knows if there is if there was another group, that if this mesh is in another group. So I have to say, hey, this is me. I want you to delete this mesh. But then the thing is the mesh needs to ask the group, hey, is this mesh being used in any other groups? So that's why we ended up pulling in the two below it, because the mesh service tells the geometry service, hey, I'm deleting this mesh, or I'm deleting the mesh that holds this geometry. And then geometry service says, hey, whoa, is there any other meshes that's using this geometry? And so it has to ask the mesh service, which causes an error, a cyclic redundancy error. And that's just always, and I know I have a workaround with these deferred dependency classes. So I'm going to end up having to do that too. Okay, so we do need this one. So I guess I should just do this. Okay. Guess it depends on which one of these things you're on. And then this is our, okay, so wait, these are, why, okay, I don't think I need, now that I think about it, I don't think I need the three mesh service. All right, so I'm just going to bring in the group service, and that's it. Let's just do that. Okay, we'll just do that. Amazed at how, okay, I always thought people were just being a pain in the butt, but I finally ran into the issue of where this happens all the time, where I end up copying a some white space up here. And the problem with that is, man, can it lead to some weird Git issues. Um, because Git, like when you're looking at it, it says, hey, this line changed. And you're like, I didn't change that line. And you're looking at it and it's white space that changed. Okay, so these are my three services. I don't, oh, I probably actually no. Like this is what would add a group to a service. So if an actual, I mean, a mesh to a group. So group service. Yeah, so that makes sense because at some point I'm gonna be like, oh, I want to add this to my group. I want to add like a mesh, a ThreeJS mesh to my ThreeJS group. And so I'll need, and I don't think I ever, on my ST side, I don't think I ever make calls between the three services. The ST handles all of that stuff, I think. Anything where both multiple three services need, I think that's how I have that set up. Right. All right, I feel like I'm in the wrong Oh, I was at the group service and I wanted to be ST mesh. All right. We definitely will need the animation service, I think. Because I'm actually going to, I guess as part of this, also try to make the group um, the one that's animated, not the mesh. I mean, the meshes definitely will need to have their own animation, um, but for what I'm doing here, it's really more of a group. All right, what's next? What's next? What's next? So our ST services. So I used the material. Okay, so all I did was get one lower of the ST service, which makes sense because I am the other one. So let's copy this. It's wild how many empty constructors I have. My boss does not like us having empty constructors, so I'm pretty sensitive to removing them. ST mesh service. All right, so now we have our ST mesh service. All right, now I think the next line is, in fact, okay, I don't think I want that one anymore. Yeah, we don't want that. So now we want to create a base group. And a base group will actually, well, look at all this. A base group will actually create a mesh. So I'll be able to create mesh directly from that. This is where I create my ThreeJS mesh. Then we won't need any of this geometry stuff. And here's where we add it to our dictionary. And then here's where we get our ID. No, we generated an ID up here. Associate. So we had it associate object to ID. Oh, okay. That's right. That's how you get this beauty. Because these are actual ThreeJS. I think? No. There we go. These are our ThreeJS um, objects. So this ID gets associated. I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on there. All right. But everything seems good. So we're going to copy this create base. And then what's left? Is it just get mesh by ID? No, there's all kinds of stuff. So do that. I've really been experimenting a lot with emoticons. I wonder if there's a create. Oh, I definitely want to slide this over. You? Ah, that was for New York. Hmm. Maybe this, like That is amazing, actually. So anytime I do a create, I'm going to try to remember. All right. Now we have a create base group. I think that's going to be the last one I do today on this. I could literally code on this, like heads down on this. I've gotten this application to the point where I could just sit here for 12 hours coding. I definitely feel a lot better after coding this for a little bit than I do before. Group. st group. st group ID. And then I don't think we have any geometries. Oh, I think we need to bring this in. Need to import this bad boy. And then we need to get rid of these two. And that should do that. That's good. I think I want that to be indented a little bit. Now, we want to go to our actual 3 group service. And we want to say create a group. And we want to give it our group ID. Now, I remember the group, there was not a whole lot to create group. It was just like a little bit. We absolutely don't need a material or a geometry. This, I think st group dictionary. Group ID. st group. The group is on fire. ID and then st group. Does this just work? This one I don't quite remember exactly what that was doing. Does not look like it knows how to do that. So we probably need to make a small tweak in there. I was thinking I was going to be done, but I do want to get this squared away. And I am hoping, I believe it's probably just. There's our sequence. I knew we had some type of type. Go to definition. Now we'll generally these, I should have made these in alphabetical order. And like I said, it's only so that because our chances of get conflicts goes down. Actually, it probably goes up if they're in alphabetical order. Right? Yeah, probably. It probably goes up. ST group. Right. Oh. And then, let's see. I should try to keep them in our, oh, and they're not even. Okay. Sometimes I think that along those ways, and sometimes I don't. But I was thinking I should keep this order of constants, the same order of those types, like in the same order. ST group. And then there we go. We're good. Okay, so now we can create. We have our little create thing. Let's sort of let this scheme expand. And it just gives me like a little bit of rebellious feeling. Um, putting emoticon in there. Um, let's see. So there's that. All right. So tomorrow we will continue, and we will, yeah, all of these. See, that has other scenes. That one's an important one. This is, I think, going to be way less complex in the group. So anyway, so that is that. I think we made good progress. I don't have the vaguest idea how close we are to being done with this issue. Yeah, I just don't know. See, because basically once I have all this stuff all built out, I'm gonna have it all built out, but it won't be getting used anywhere. And then I have to go into our scene service, I think. And then into ST scene service. That's interesting. So I have a base mesh and a three mesh, which are the exact, oh no, this is the three. Okay. So, so this goes and gets both, and then it puts them inside of it adds the mesh to the scene, but we're going to want to basically add group to scene, and then add group to scene will create all those things. And that actually might actually just work. So we'll be getting we don't even use the base mesh from here. We only use the three. Like we know what it is, we can get it. It's not that big of a deal, but yeah, so basically, yeah, it looks like we might just remove the three stuff and then replace it with group stuff. When the group gets created, it actually has a little it has a little when the group gets created, it actually creates a mesh and adds a mesh in to itself. So all right. Anyways, happy coding everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.